Hi Warham fam, welcome back to our channel. I'm Debbie.
I'm Darren.
And today it's all about dragon eggs. Not very impressive, is it? It's a polystyrene egg. It's a nice size. But I took one of them and I did that. It's not perfect, but this was my first major one I did. And I used 4 colours. So you've got like a turquoise, 2 different greens and a green gold to finish. And I tried to do it so they came up into each other like flames almost. I made this, which is just like a, I think it was a oh, what do you call them? A wrapping paper tube that was finished. I had to coat it in paper because obviously being just dark like that, it doesn't colour, and just use some glittery green normal paint for that. Right, so let's talk sizes, people. As I said, you got that one and I've got that one. This came as a part of a lot of eggs. It's a bit a pack of eggs from, I think it was the Works, and I got some from Pound Shop. Yeah. You can get all different sizes. That's about the size of a medium chicken's egg, roughly.
Yeah. If you move it next to it on there, you can see. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
You can see them fall over.
No, because it was close up to the screen, so it looked like it was doing the same size.
Now, you can get all different shapes, but we are concentrating on dragon eggs, but I thought I'd show you that one. And again, I've got a smaller version, which I did do. Now, the only reason I'm showing you this now is because at the time I had all the colours and I wasn't sure what would look best. So I sort of did a block of like 5, 6, 7 and just did the different colours on it to see what ones I actually had. As you can see, some of them are chipping away. This was the first project that I did full stop with using this. You probably know what these are. They're covering it. I'll show you anyway. Silver drawing pins. Now I have got more packs than this because people kept buying me packs and we kept getting packs because you most of the time you don't realise it, but a lot of the time you get gold drawing pins, which are absolutely useless for doing this because obviously it's a strong colour in itself, and if you're painting over with like semi-transparent and transparent paints, it doesn't really work. So there we are. We've got our foam eggs and we've got drawing pins. As I said, this is the colours. Now the paint I use is glass paint because I do glass painting anyway, and poster paint wouldn't look right. It'd be too blockish. But glass paint is just right for what I want.
Yeah, you'd lose the natural shine from it.
You would, yeah.
Yeah.
And plus it'd just look really blocky. I mean, could be wrong. You know, it might be something that works depending on what sort of thing you're doing. But as I'm doing them into looking like dragon eggs, hence the scale sort of effect. I start at the bottom and then work my way round, which I'll show you as and when. Right, so the paints I've decided I'm going to use for my next one, which is this one, are black. So you'll have black at the base. Sorry, it's showing you the right one in the right order. Crimson, which is a nice, good red. But again, a clearer red, you know. Orange. And then yellow. Or lemon, sorry. Now, the reason I've chosen those is because I want it to sort of look like a ball of flame sort of effect, or a flamey dragon egg, basically. Now, for this one, I'll probably use either purples or blues, and I'll use 2 or 3 colours at the most on that, because there's no point. I'd advise using at least 3 to 4 on something this size. You could get away with 5 perhaps, but I would really recommend you not going too nuts if you want this sort of flaming up colour for a dragon egg. Again, depending on what project you're doing with it, depending on what sort of egg you want, but this is what we're concentrating on from my perspective. So please don't think that I'm saying you've got to do this. This is what you do if you want a dragon egg, in my opinion. I'm not an expert. Darren actually said to me about using drawing pins because of something he'd seen. And once I had all the drawing pins over, I loved the effect. But my mind automatically went to using my glass paints because they are quite transparent. So, I've got my paints, I've got my eggs, I've got my drawing pins. So, all that leaves me to, really, is to start it and do it and see how we go. So I'll have a wee chat with you once I've covered the eggs with drawing pins. And yeah, I will speak to you then, and then we'll go on from there. Bye. Right, I thought I'd take a minute break here because I've used the first pack of the 400 pins and it's done a small egg and this so far. So as you can tell, 400 pins would not do this in its entirety. However, if you wanted to do part of it dragon egg and part of it not, maybe using crepe paper or what have you, you can always go up the sides a little unevenly, almost like flames coming up. That's not what I'm going to do with this one, as you know. I'm going to make it into a full dragon's egg. So we're on to the next 400 pins. If it still isn't complete with 400 pins, I will stop and show you what the further amount is. Okay. Right, so that's now 800 pins. Now, this I don't think would be quite enough to cover it. If it is, it'd be only just. So, debatable really. So yeah, if you're doing this, I'd say you need at least 800. I'd probably say there's about 825's worth of pins on this in its entirety, roughly. Obviously, if I hadn't have done the small leg, it would probably have taken it to about up to here. So that's why I say about 825. I'm not pulling that out the air too much because I remember now from doing the other one, bits come back to you. But anyway, so the next thing I need is another packet of pins. Right guys, so now I'm on to the last few. Obviously I had to empty in another 400 as you know, and I've given you a quote of how many I think roughly you need, which I believe was something like 825, something like that anyway. Obviously the small one is going to be over 50 surprisingly, but there you go. I wouldn't think there's 100 in it, but to be honest you'd be surprised. But yeah, right. So I'm down to the last few now, which I thought I'd see. Now look, I've rookie mistake there. There we go. Because you don't want any of the foam bits showing in between. The obviously, I mean, when you look at it, obviously there's the gap bits, which I'm hoping the Mod Podge is going to work well with. But I'm going to test that on that multicoloured heart I showed you with all the coloration first anyway, to get it right before I put it on larger projects that I'm happy with. But as you can see, I mean, they go in quite happily. Sometimes though, your pin will pop out a bit, and there's no more and more reason to it. Something is obviously funky with that bit of foam, or styrofoam, sorry. Also, I will warn you, it gets heavier obviously as you do this. I've got used to the weight of it now because it covers most of it, but when you first start off it's a little bit disconcerting because it all of a sudden gets heavy in your hand. But no, as I say, you just place them in like so. Make sure that you're not showing any gaps. It doesn't have to be precise. If you want to square off sides, I mean with the big one, where I put the thing in, there's actually like a circular mark about the size of a drawing pin in there. That's sort of a circular mottled bit, really, I suppose, to show the centre of the egg, which is really handy with this. But unfortunately, it doesn't appear to be on these small ones. I have got different small ones from different places, so I'm not saying that is the case in all of that. But yeah, no, I don't do anything to prepare these pins beforehand. I suppose you could give them a rinse through and what have you, but to be honest, I don't really bother with that. It sort of adds to the texture, really. If there are some that are a bit different on placement and bits like that, it doesn't matter too much. What I will say is that, you know, the painting side of things, it's best to have something prepared that will be able to put your egg on. Now at the moment, for convenience, I've just put that on one of my paint pots. What I will do though is cut off a small piece of toilet roll, that's the word I was after, and use that, which I'll show you. Now the bit I cut off from the toilet roll will not be the bit that I'm using to stand it up in, because it are likely, you know, you might get splashes of paint or what have you on it. This, however, doesn't matter too much, because even if it does get a little bit of paint on it, because you have to sort of do half the egg at a time when you're painting, obviously. But this I will cover, and I'll probably tidy up the edges a little bit, and to just have it in that sort of slightly higher in one side than the other works really well for these. But it's a learning thing. We'll see how we get on with it. Right, so we're very nearly there. I thought you'd want to see how the last ones were being placed. I mean, you're going to need to make sure that you cover every aspect, but that won't work there. So if you go in there, and as I said, you go in there and you lift that one up again, so that sandwiches that down, and then you've got an annoying bit this side as well, which again I would probably sandwich down. Yeah, there we go. So that's not particularly happy, that pen. See if I can put that in somewhere else. Doesn't matter if it is a bit loose, because when you paint them, it holds it in place more. That is more than a bit loose, actually. That is very loose. Hang on. There we go. It's because I'm doing it, and yeah. But yeah, so you can see it's completely covered. Really nice effect. They feel so nice. It's sort of, you know, obviously you want to paint from the bottom to the top, because just the way it goes. So we'll start off with a dark bit. Right, so what I will do is I will stop this and get my paints right. And yeah, sorry. Oh, how long did it take me, Darren?
The large egg took you 73 minutes.
Right, so this took 73 minutes.
The small egg took 21 minutes.
There you go. You get into a sort of, you can have anything you want to watch at the time. You sort of, it's really therapeutic. I don't know how else to explain it, but it is. It's really therapeutic. You could leave it like this and just Mod Podge to seal the thing. But I don't want to do that. I want my colours on it. I want it to look spectacular. And as I said, you know, probably about 825, maybe 850 on the large. Probably say around 100 on the small. Yeah. That's only guesstimating, obviously. So what I will do, because I mean, if you wanted to do yourself like the Game of Thrones ones, you could do like 3 small ones and have them in a little casket that you make yourself. Or maybe one that you can buy or pick up cheap and what have you. But whatever you want to do with it, I still think they're wicked. I think they make wicked gifts. And what I'm going to do is, as I said, I've got the paints I'm going to use for this one. And since I last glass painted, with use of the terminology, they've brought out things that look like pens. They're not. It is still glass painting. You can use it on rocks and ceramics and all sorts of things, the paint in these pens. And I think I'm going to get myself just a small pack, and I'll do this with it, because I want to see like the differentness of these. Obviously by doing that, because you're going from pen, and I use the term loosely, to pen, by rights it's no messing about with brushes and paint pots and bits like that. The paints I've got currently, I paid around £2.95 for at the time, and I bought a load, so I think it was on a buy X amount and get some free. I can't remember because it was a very long time ago. And they've gone up to between £5 and £6 a pot now. So the pens, especially if you're trying for the first time, I just want them to show you guys what they're like, and also see for myself what they're like. Because it's not just the paints, is it? You've got the whole thing with the white spirit and bits like that. Whereas we'll see, because I think it'd be quite fun to see how they work out on this. I've got some smoky glass ashtrays we were given years ago when a cafe closed down, and they had a great big box of the things, and they gave it to me because they knew basically I did different little project bits. I mean, for the things I do with them, you wouldn't use them as ashtrays anyway, but they're quite good for like trinket bits and things like that. So I may experiment with the pens on one of those first, but we'll talk you through it. We'll go through it. Anyway, guys, right, I will see you back here with paint pots and brushes and so on. Right, guys, so completely done the egg as we said before. So what I've done is essentially I've just put some kitchen towel down. I've got a spare sheet at the side, so when I go to wipe the brush, because it's glass paint, I've got a wee bit of white spirit you can get from pretty much any hardware shop, or bits and bobs shops if there are still them around, and I've popped that just in the base of a ramekin dish, which is a good excuse to go for the goo chocolate souffle, which I recommend, purely for, of course, the necessary use of the pot, because, you know, using an egg cup or something that you have hanging around, you know, you want something that is specifically for that, and if it involves you having to suffer to eat a chocolate souffle, who's to go against that? Anyway, I've got the first paint I'm using, which is black, and as I said, I've just got a £2 pack of brushes I've got from the works previously, and I've taken out the second smallest one, which is 0.5, or is it a 5/0? I don't know. But either way, it's the second largest, because the smallest one in there, as you can probably see, is a bit rough and ready. And not only that, you know, it's a nice size. It's not too big and not too small, and it goes quite nicely on like that. So what I do, move that out of the way, because I don't need... You're always best off clearing anything you don't need out of the way. And move my tablets behind, because I don't need to take them till tonight now. And right, so I'll give it a bit of a shake because it's been a while. Now, as I said, the black paint is going to be a bit stronger than what I'd normally use on eggs, but as I sort of want that fireball effect, it'll work for us. So quite simply, I grab hold of said egg. You can do it with this on here, but as I can't move forward that well, there's no point. You don't have to put loads and loads on your brush. So we start at the very central one, which is just going like that. And to start off with, you don't need to be that precise, because, you know, this is the base bit, so you can just pretty much squiggle it on without worrying too much. I was a bit precious when I did the other one, but there was really no point, because it's not a big deal. If you do go over a bit more than you wanted to, just slow yourself up a little bit. There you go. And you can see, you know, it goes on basically. I don't really want to have to do more than one coat of this because I want it to sort of be a little on the see-through-ish side. But you know, if you need to, you need to. It's as simple as that. So we will see how we go. So I'm going to say I'm not exactly being very dainty at the moment, and it's a little awkward because obviously I'm trying to face it so you guys can see. But you can see, I mean, it's covering. It is what it is basically. But yeah. So I'm going to sit here, do this quite slowly, and hopefully you guys will be able to see what I'm doing. Right, so see you after I've finished the black. Right guys, so I've just done a rough, it's not going to be perfect because, you know, I'm not an expert painter. Plus you can guarantee it'll go up more and more and more. But there's a few patchy bits which I'll probably go over. Also, depending on how the time-lapse video went, about 5 pins fell out the top, which I haven't had before actually. So, you know, it is what it is. It's, you know, I've got 2 here, and that means there's 3 over the other side, which shouldn't affect anybody's feet because nobody in the balls don't go down there. So hopefully Darren will be able to find them for me. If not, I'll use some from the others. But yeah, I'm just cleaning my brush now. Always worth doing it straight away, to be fair. And plus it means you don't make a mess putting it down somewhere. So, all in all, how long did it take me to do the paint so far?
1 hour 18 minutes.
Right, so I mean, obviously it could take you either a lot longer or a lot quicker depending on how exacting you're being on it. I never put a huge amount of white spirit in because there's no point, because I've got to let that dry completely, which I'll let it do over the period of a few days, because it may only take, it depends. I'll let you know on how it goes, because I'll try for a second coat, or patch up the bits I need to patch up, and so on. But no, all in all, apart from touching one bit of the painted bit and getting paint on my finger, I've done pretty well really. So it's just a case of wait and see. And if the bits coming up, I mean, they're not going to be exact points or anything like that. The whole idea of the egg is that it's, you know, each one's unique in their own way. So yeah, we shall wait, we shall see, and the next time you see this it will be dry, or at least dry enough to do any touching up, as I said. Right, so I left it for a couple of days to dry, not because it needed it, but I was doing other bits at the time, and there's a few little bits and bobs that are just coming through a little bit from the silver. Initially I was going to go over with the black to try and polish it off more, but what I think it actually would be better, and what I'm going to do, is I've got the crimson one now, so we've got nice deep red, and what I'm going to do is where the bits show through, because it's not a uniform thing, it's like where you get eggs, you might get markings come through in areas, so the red coming through on certain areas of this will actually work because it sort of makes it more of a natural flow. So let's have a look and I will show you. I've given this a wee shake. Just put a touch on the end of the brush and I will show you closer in a moment. But yeah, that works actually, that does work. I may have to do a secondary coat of the red because you can, oh sorry, you can see there where it is, but what I'll do is I'll show you properly once I've done the area in red that I want to do. So we'll go on to our little fast whip it way. Right guys, so I've done the red. I can move that down a bit because I've got a puffy pillow. I'm probably going to do an overcoat slightly on this, but as I want to see what colour to, well, as I want to do the orange and check that I've left enough space, what I'll do is I'll do the orange one next, because I've still got yellow to go on the near the very top. So yeah, so orange it is next. Okay. Right guys, so I've done the orange. Now bear in mind, say I've done, what I mean by that is I've done the first coating, as it were. It's the same as I'll go over the red, the orange and probably the yellow, depending on how well it covers. And if I want to raise more red up, I'll do so then, and so on. Now you can see like the black coverage on the bottom is pretty good. It got a bit spiky up here because I was trying to rush at the time, which is never a good thing with this sort of thing. Because I realised quite early on I wanted to be able to adapt these if I should need to, but knew that I wouldn't be able to do so until I've seen the finished sort of result. The orange needs touching up, obviously, so does the red, and when it comes down to it, I think this is going to look more like a sort of phoenix egg, really, or phoenix dragon egg. So my first thought was, as you know, fireball, but it's actually looking pretty how can I put this, forks in colour. So yeah, it's like a dragon hybrid, really. But yeah, so let's see how it goes with the yellow. And then what I will do is tell you, after I've touched up, how long each section took and an altogether time scale, because if nothing else it gives you an idea of quite, you know, how much is actually involved in something like this. But I've got to say, actually, I'm really pleased with this at the moment. You know, it's not going to be perfect, I'm not a perfect painter, but it's only at the sort of beginning stages still with the first layer. So yeah, right guys, on to yellow. Right guys, so obviously I didn't record the touching up of it because you saw me painting it, so there was very little point in showing you me going over it again. But as you can see, it is finished. It's covered really well. The only bit I didn't bother touching up was the yellow, because it just didn't need it. That covered really well anyway. But yeah, I mean, all from the starting point of the very middle pin there, which my fingernail is on just, and then just circling it round as you've seen, and yeah, it's come out really well. I'm really pleased with it. Right, times first of all.
Times, right.
So it took me how long to pin it?
Pin it 1 hour 13 minutes.
Right, this is just purely on this egg. Okay, so all this information is on this egg because I haven't done the small one yet. So the small one, I'm going to have to get a lighter paint through, so I haven't done that. So, how long did it take to paint?
All the painting and touch up took 3 hours 48 minutes.
So altogether
5 hours 1 minute.
So yeah.
So 5 hours.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I mean, you know, what you get as a result is, it looks really fabulous. I'm hoping it picks up well on the camera.
It looks quite good from here, yeah.
But I showed my mum and mother-in-law this one.
They don't blend in quite as well on the camera.
Yeah, it does blend in really well.
Yeah, so it blends in well, as you can see it on there, but the colours are more distinct on the camera.
But yeah, no, so I'm really pleased with that. Now, as you can tell, this is a Pringles tube. Yep. I haven't cut this down yet. What I'm going to do is cut it down so it's a little bit lower and you've got a slightly higher bit. It's almost like an oval going down. And then I'll cover it in paper and probably use sellotape, to be honest, in the central part here just to hold the paper on, and then paint it whatever colour. Now, I haven't Mod Podged this yet because I need to experiment with other ones. And as we had quite a poorly Bonnie, I'd been reluctant to do too much in the way of painting or anything else at the moment. By the way, she is doing well. She was out on bed with us this morning and sleeping in between us, which was really, really cute. So yeah, she's doing a hell of a lot better, considering we thought she got a lot worse before she got better, if you know what I mean. So yeah, she's on the mend, bless her. So that being said, she was sleeping between us this morning, as I say. So I don't know, I just don't want to glue and do too many odds and bods. Anyway, so yeah, I will do this, and then on one of my either Friday vlogs or on a Mod Podge vlog, I'll show you the finished article on that. But the important thing was getting you guys to see the egg, and what you can do with some styrofoam eggs and some pins and a bit of paint. To be honest, you could possibly use nail varnish, but it would smell a lot stronger, and I'm not entirely sure how blocky it would cover, obviously, because it depends on the type you've got. But yeah, I mean, it's just a case of choosing a colour and seeing how it goes. So we shall see. But all in all, happy Easter, guys. Or happy
Oster's already gone, darling. Yeah.
Happy Pink
Star's
Moon.
already gone. Yeah.
You know,
that's close. Yeah. Pink Moon's
happy Egg Day. There you go.
Happy Chocolate Day.
Yeah. Oh, but not all egg is made out of, well, I suppose you get vegan chocolate. It's still called chocolate, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, happy Egg Day. And, yeah, I hope you guys like this. And I hope it's something that's useful. Obviously, if you've got any questions, please ask. And I will do my best to answer them. Because, as I said, I've not used Mod Podge before. It's going to be a bit trial and error-y. So I want to get that sorted before I do it. But, then again, I know some of you guys already use that, so you know, you'll probably know more than I on that. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, really pleased with the Phoenix Dragon Egg. And be safe, be different, and be happy.